the valuable bit is property management, isn't it, Matt? That's where you can get those big sellout numbers.
Yeah. And tell us a bit more about your experience in working with agents in that area, Rob, because there's a lot of estate agencies with there are a lot of sales businesses in our industry who do not have a lettings and property management arm. And someone said to me this week, they said, sales is like a one night stand and lettings is more of a marriage. And it's kind of a funny way of looking at it, but I kind of get the point.
Great line. Yeah. Really great line. The affairs are far more exciting, aren't they?
Yeah, but why wouldn't you have that reoccurring revenue? What do you think puts agents off of doing that?
I think, don't get me wrong, property management's hard work, isn't it? It is hard work. It's a tough job to do. So I think that puts lots of people off. My common one, Matt, that I see is that the lettings and property management business is, I don't know, two people in the back office or the back corner with all the sales guys at the front being big I am sales guys, without realizing that actually the real value in our business, we've got a reoccurring model. I'm sure Nick would be a great advocate of reoccurring income models. Are great for businesses. They help you to have regular income. My own business, the bills are all paid by property management. Everything was covered. We turned over, 1.5 million in terms of property management fees every year, came in. And the other great thing about it, Matt, you could get growth on it just by tweaking it constantly.
Yeah.
Working on it gently, and it would just grow and grow and grow. Even with the drop-offs, it still grew each year relentlessly. It's a phenomenal business. It's valuable. If you want people like Nick to come along and sell your business for millions of pounds, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. And Nick, it probably doesn't make sense to you that agents wouldn't have that kind of arm to their business, but I suppose most are just put off by the complexities and the compliance of running a lettings business. Is that fair to say?
Well, you said at the very beginning, right? Like, and I kind of agree. Like, there's maybe that estate agent, they're just trying to sell you something. They're not thinking, what's the bigger play here? They're not giving themselves the time to think. They probably don't even understand the concept of recurring revenue. I mean, what Rob said is 100% right. I mean, businesses that I get involved in, that's one of the first things we do. We create products literally from nothing that bring a recurring revenue element into their business, because I know that's going to bring the multiple up to 2 or 3 points on what it is if they don't have that. So I think, but back to your point around a sales focused estate agency. I mean, if I was advising them, I'd be saying, hey, you should be acquiring a lettings piece, right? You should be kind of looking at your expansion that way to diversify your revenue streams. There's probably 4 or 5 other products or product areas. You guys will be closer to the detail that you should have some sort of ecosystem that works off each other, right? Because you're going to get efficiencies, and that's going to increase your margins and your profitability. So there's all these things. These are business model, back to my original point, these are business model questions, right? And they have to align also with, what that owner of the agency wants to achieve. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I just think that a lot of the people in the industry probably just don't think like this or have the knowledge around it. I mean, you guys obviously help with things like this to be able to then make those decisions and choices.
Yeah, I agree with that, Nick. I think that's good. I was going to say, I agree with that entirely. It just looks like hard work. It just looks like being messy, and they don't invest in it. And I think the other thing that's changing coming up is going to be AI. Because it is going to be so much more cost effective to run property management portfolios with AI. I mean, it's probably 6 months away from doing it really well, where you won't need so many people. You can get AI to do 90% of the dog work within property management, which is phenomenal. And all those portfolios are going to become incredibly more valuable. I'm absolutely convinced the price people will pay on multiples for property management will go up over the next 18 months just because of AI.
Because they can literally integrate AI into whichever models they acquire.
Yes. They can
cut
put it
out a
in.
large layer. They may be looking at an existing lettings business which maybe has a big team and think,
Yep.
well, we're going to cut 20 or 30% of the overheads straight away, inject AI into that model, and all of a sudden we've just built another 20 or 30% of net profit.
Yeah. Now,
What are your thoughts
when I
on
ran
AI?
my property,
Could
I was
work.
going to say, when I ran my property management business, the best I ever got it to one year was 42% profit margins. But I was running it tight, and probably a bit too tight, if I'm honest. But I reckon that will be easily achievable for most people with the support of AI because of the reduced of costs.
Yeah. And Nick, AI is obviously a massive topic of conversation. It's been a massive topic of conversation for many years, but it's really accelerating at some kind of rate of knots. And how do you see the future of, I suppose, entrepreneurship with the use of AI? And that's a big question and a broad question. But what I mean by that is, are people really understanding it for what it is, do you think, in general terms? Or are they still thinking, I don't want it to replace me at some point?
I think it's more the latter generally, but it depends on the industry you're talking about. It depends on some extent the age profile, I suppose. I mean, I don't think it's 100% that, but there's definitely different levels of adoption. I think the watch out.
You're only 21, Rob, for God's sake.
Exactly. Wow. Had a tough paper round though.
I'm 51, right? So I'm like almost a dinosaur here. But here's the thing, right? So my opinion is AI is a bit of a buzzword, right? And I don't particularly like the fact that it's getting, everyone's talking about AI as if it's this brand new thing. It has been around for a long time. It is technology. Making efficiencies from people and process has been around a long time. So it's not like it's brand new. The tools are getting better because the technology is getting better. So I think this is, I mean, I've got a business where all we do is go into service-based companies and take out inefficiencies using AI or technology, right? Exactly what Rob's saying. And it does extremely well because it tends to be people who are maybe in their sort of late 40s, 50s, 60s. They've got too many people. They don't know how to streamline their processes. You can go in there with a suite of AI tools, just off the shelf stuff, and you can basically change their businesses very quickly. So there's a big opportunity, I think, for creating more valuable companies off the back of AI. But at the same time, I don't think it's as complex as people need to really sort of make it out to be. And it really is about just kind of educate. Back to what I said about, you can only scale to the level of your identity. This is a great point of just educating yourself with something new. I mean, I use 5 or 6 AI tools every single day. In fact, I did 2 hours earlier this morning with my team.
Oh, he's gone again.
Coming back. God, this is Peter for you. I spent 2 hours this morning with my team, and we were doing speaker profiles, role profiles, all sorts of different things, and it was incredible. Like we did like literally what would have been a few days' work in the space of 2 hours, just using 3 or 4 tools. So I think that's the opportunity that people need to lean into, because just doing that is going to change their ability to do more and also make their businesses more valuable as well.
It's interesting. I mean, we did catch some of that, Nick. There was a little bit of a breakup in there, but just in a nutshell, what we're saying is that there are huge opportunities to use it in the right areas. And what you've been doing with one of your businesses is literally that's the sole purpose of that business, which is to go in and do that deliberately. And then you're cutting out those costs and integrating something which is going to be, it's probably a lot more reliable. I mean, obviously one of the temptations for business owners is they don't have to pay AI holiday. There isn't a problem with sickness. They aren't going to be a toxic person that works in a team, and so on and so forth. So, it's nice to have an employee called AI that just does what it's told, I suppose.